Hello everyone, this is Citrina and this is the July 2018 astrology forecast for Libra. Okay, so we start the month off. Let's start with Mercury, because Mercury is going to be retrograde starting on July 26th. So remember, Mercury rules communication, it rules travel, it rules technology. So if you are in the market to buy any electronics, or if you're trying to book travel, this is not the time to do it while Mercury is retrograde. Okay? So if you want to buy any electronics, if you want to sign any contracts, if you want to book travel, it's best to do it after Mercury goes direct, and Mercury goes direct on August 18th. So that's a good time to start trying to buy electronics or book travel. Now also, while Mercury is retrograde, because Mercury does rule communication, you might run into events or situations where you type up an email and you think you sent it out to everyone, but someone calls you and they're like, what happened to that email you said you were going to send out? And you double check and realize you didn't even send it. I mean, you typed it and everything, but you forgot to press send. Things like that will happen when Mercury is retrograde. So Mercury will be retrograde between July 26th through August 18th. And it's going to be in your 11th house, dealing with friends. Dealing with your friends, dealing with social organizations, things of that nature. So that's Mercury. It will be in Leo all month, and it will go retrograde on July 26th. So let's look at Venus. Okay, now Venus is going to be in Leo until the 10th. And then Venus moves into Virgo on the 10th. So for you, Venus and the 10th is going to be in your 11th house, dealing with friends, and then it moves into your 12th house, dealing with places of isolation, dealing with topics, dealing with the subconscious realm. So let's look at the differences between Venus being in Leo and Venus being in Virgo. Okay, so when Venus is in Virgo, that's more of an energy where you tend to splurge, you tend to want extravagance. When Venus is in Virgo, you tend to be more frugal. So keep that in mind. Now, if you're dating someone, it's good to know the placement, like what's going on with Venus at the time, because this is what because Venus rules love. So it's good to know what Venus is doing when you're dating. Okay, so let's say if you are a Libra and you're dating and you have Venus in Virgo in the 12th house, remember, Venus is more of an observant energy. It's more of an analytical energy. So you have Venus in Virgo, Libra, most of you out there. It could be somewhere different in your natal chart. So that's why it's good to have a birth chart interpretations to find out exactly where these planets are placed in your natal chart. So anyway, let's say you're dating and you have Venus in Virgo in your 12th house. You will tend to sit back and observe, how does this person feel about religion? How do they feel about astrology? Do they go to church? Do they believe in God? Things of that nature. Are they doing their best to stay out of jail? Things of that nature. Because remember, the 12th house deals with places of isolation, such as jails, hospitals. It also deals with subconscious topics. So things like religion, you're going to be very observant about how that person feels about those particular topics. Now, on the other hand, let's say you're dating a Libra and you want to impress them. You can impress them by being knowledgeable about religion, showing them that you have something in common as far as your belief system, things of that nature. So there's just some things to keep in mind, because Venus in Virgo is a different energy from Venus in Leo. When Venus is in Leo, we just want to party, we just want to live it up, we want to live the high life. When Venus is in Virgo, we want to observe the person that we're dating, check them out, things of that nature. So that's what's going on with Venus. Now let's look at Mars, because Mars is still retrograde. This is just a reminder. Mars will be retrograde until August 26th. Now for you, Mars is in your 5th house, dealing with fun, creativity, romance, things of that nature. So remember, when Mars is retrograde, it really doesn't want to do too much. It can, but it really doesn't want to. Let's keep moving, because Jupiter is going direct. Oh, let's see. Can't see that. Let me go back up. Okay. Jupiter is going direct on July 10th. Now, for you, Jupiter is in Scorpio in your house, dealing with your material possessions. So over the last few months, whatever you've been thinking about as far as your material possessions, your the deep dark feelings, or the deep places within you as far as how you feel about your material possessions, when Jupiter goes direct, you'll start seeing some action in that area. So that's really great. That's something to look forward to. Okay, let's keep moving on. We have the sun. There we go. Okay, so we have the sun. The sun is going to be in Cancer until the 22nd. And then as of the 22nd, we can start telling our Leo friends happy birthday. Okay. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, this is a very important aspect. On July 25th, the sun will square Uranus. So this is an aspect where you can expect to receive unexpected news. Now, hopefully the news is good, but more than likely it will be a challenging type of news that you hear, because when you have a square is more of a challenging aspect. I don't know what just flew by me. It looked like a big bee. Okay, so anyway, when you have a square, that is more of a challenging aspect. So around that time, you can expect to hear some challenging news, or some news that you really don't want to hear. So let's see. It could be news about anything, but let me look in your chart to see exactly where it falls in your chart. So you have the sun in Leo in your 11th house, dealing with friends. And then you have Uranus in your 8th house, dealing with shared resources. It deals with other people's money. It deals with transformation, death, and rebirth. It also deals with sexual topics also. So an example I can give of something you might experience, or the news that you might hear by the sun and Uranus being in these particular houses, you might hear, let's say you loaned a friend some money. Well, they might finally pay you back. That's good news, right? On the other hand, you might have a friend who makes a sexual advance towards you. Something like that. It's going to be unexpected news that you're really not prepared to hear. You know, you really weren't expecting to hear this. It could be that the friend, your long-term friend, lets you know that they have been attracted to you for a long time. Things of that nature. So keep that in mind. Now let's move on, because let's talk about the new moon, because it will be a partial solar eclipse. Now let's talk a little bit about eclipses, solar eclipses. So when we have a solar eclipse, it's a point in time where the moon is between the sun and the earth. Now, the energy of this can affect us for up to 6 months, but consider this a preview of what you can expect next year. Now, most of us will feel this energy. However, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn will feel the energy the most. So this solar eclipse is an energy where it's like a transformation energy. It's a great time for transformation. It's a great time to take action. Now, it will be in opposition to Pluto. So watch out for any type of drama or crisis around this time, but it looks like you will avert it. So now let me pull one card to see what you need to concentrate on at this time. Okay, because this new moon is in Cancer, and it does fall in your 10th house of your career area, or what you're known for in the world. So I'll just shuffle the cards. See what does Libra need to concentrate on at this new moon in Cancer. I don't know if you can see me. I'm like in the shade. Okay, here we go. Well, one more time. Let me just do this one more time. Oh, my glasses. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, let's see. What does Libra need to concentrate on? I'm just trying to shuffle on camera. Authority. Okay, Libra, at this new moon, this is what you need to concentrate on. This is actually the Emperor card in the traditional tarot deck. So at this new moon in Cancer, you need to concentrate on being the authority in your life. Okay, whether you work somewhere and you have a boss, or whether you have your own business, you need to realize that you call the shots in your life. Okay, so just keep that in mind at the new moon. And by it falling in your 10th house, a good thing to do at this new moon is to sit down and write a new moon wish list. What do you want for yourself as far as your career, what you're known for in the world? If you have a business, where do you want to take your business? Things of that nature. So that's good to do at the new moon. And then remember, you have the authority card. So remember that you are the authority on your life. Let's keep moving, because we have the full moon this month. It's going to be a total lunar eclipse in Aquarius. Okay, for you, it falls in your 5th house of fun, creativity, romance, kids, things of that nature. Okay, so let's look at this. Let me tell you about lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse happens when the earth is between the sun and the moon. Okay, so even though this is a full moon, it's like a full moon on steroids. Okay, and we all know the full moon can be a time of a lot of emotional energy. So just imagine that to the 3rd power. So during this time, a lot of secrets will come out. And this is a time where this eclipses help you to take things out of your life that no longer serve you. So anything in your life that's not serving you, concentrate on releasing that at this full moon in Aquarius. Now, most of us will feel the energy from this. However, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius will feel the energy the most. Okay, and this will be an emotionally charged time, because remember, Mars is squaring Uranus. Okay, so that's like a harsh aspect. And remain calm. Whatever you're going through, just remain calm, because this will be an emotionally charged time. Okay, so that's pretty much everything that's going on. I mean, there's some other things going on, but I don't want the video to be too long. But I'm talking about the major things that stood out to me. So another thing I want to talk about, I have 2 different groups of what I want to tell you about, and I have already mentioned them here. However, what I'm doing now is grouping them together. So the first group, I'm calling this group the Take Action group. So this is when Jupiter goes direct on July 10th, and when the new moon is in Cancer on July 12th. I'm grouping those two together. Okay, we got Jupiter and then the new moon. You see that? July 12th, July 10th. Jupiter, wherever Jupiter is, Jupiter wants to expand. So for you, it's in your house of money. And then the new moon is in your 10th house, dealing with your career. So those two together, you can expect to hear about raises. I mean, if you go for, this is a great time for you to go for a raise, go for a promotion, because you have favor in that area right now with Jupiter going direct in your house of money, and then with the new moon, which is a partial solar eclipse in the 10th house. Those two together within days of one another, that is a good time for you to try to get a promotion. It's a good time for you to go for a raise. If you have your own business, it's a good time to put in a bid for some extra work, maybe, put in a bid with the government or something like that. So just keep that in mind. Now, the second group that I want to mention, I'm calling this group the emotional gang, okay? Because we have the sun going into Leo on July 22nd, and we all know Leo can be the Leo energy can be a dramatic energy. I'm a Leo myself, so I'm not talking about them behind their backs. So we have the sun going into Leo July 22nd, drama. The sun square Uranus on July 25th, unexpected news. We have Mercury retrograde in Leo July 26th, lots of things going haywire. We have the full moon, which is a total lunar eclipse on July 27th. That's just an emotional bag of energy right there. Top all of this off with the fact that Mars is in Aquarius with this total lunar eclipse. We are talking about some emotional times. Between July 22nd through July 27th, expect it to be a very emotional time. I mean, I pray that, I pray that we just have a lovely time. Okay, and it's very possible that we will enjoy ourselves during this time. But it's also possible that people will be very emotional during this time period. So I just want to make you aware of that, because we all know Mars can bring out anger in people. And just because it's retrograde doesn't mean it can't do anything. And I've been giving the story about the vicious dog. I've been comparing Mars to the vicious dog in the neighborhood. You know, the dog, when you walk by the gate, is barking, is growling, is trying to jump over the gate to get to you. Well, just imagine one day you pass by the gate and the dog is not barking. So you feel like, oh, okay, I can reach out and pet the dog today. And you reach out and pet the dog, and guess what? It bites you. Because the vicious dog is still the vicious dog, whether it's barking or not. Same thing with Mars, okay? Mars is still Mars, whether it's retrograde or not. And you mix Mars in with the total lunar eclipse, and Mars is trying to rest, Mars might, get mad and just lash out. So expect that. Expect people to lash out at one another, things like that. So just be prepared. And since you know this ahead of time, if something happens, you'll know that, hey, this person really doesn't mean what they just said. They don't realize that so much is going on right now in the planets. So I just wanted to mention that. Now, one thing that will help us get through this emotional time is that Uranus will be in a good connection to Saturn. They're both in Earth signs. So that's one thing that's going to help us get through it. Another thing I want to talk about is that Venus is going to form a bond with Pluto, and they are both in Earth signs. So that's going to help us get through it, because they are in Earth signs, and Earth signs tend to help us stay grounded. And we are going to need all the grounding that the universe has to give us during this time period. Okay, because so many emotional things are going to be going on. But anyway, this has been your July 2018 reading, Libra. Please like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And if you would like a reading, you can contact me and I will get that out to you. And until next month, Libra, have a great month.